Hi, I'm Matt with Main Street Medina. Welcome to another edition of Medina Minute. Today we're going to sit down and talk with a few friends from around town and learn about their stories and their business. Come on in and join me. Good morning, Kayleigh. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning.
It's nice to have you here. So, Kayleigh Keller Sammarco.
Yes.
Kayleigh, you're a familiar face around town. You know, your family's been around town for a long time. You were part of the farmers market. Now you're part of a really cool project in Southtown. Are you originally from Medina?
Yes, originally from Medina County, born and raised. My parents' actual first house was just a couple blocks right over here,
Oh,
their
really?
first house together. So my dad would park the truck and trailer in the whole street, and the neighbor kids would come by and check out the livestock in the side of the trailer if we brought something home. But yeah,
Oh, that's
that was
awesome.
their very first houses right here.
So how long, tell me a little bit about your family. I know that you are a butcher.
Yes.
Is the family all butchers? Is it livestock? How did you get into this business?
So actually we have a few different trades in the family. My sister is in site construction. She works for Cleveland Metro Parks.
Oh, cool.
My brother is in construction as well, a full-time foreman for Fetchco Excavating.
Okay.
Dad, you know, a full-time butcher there. Mom, full-time foodie and all sorts. But everybody is full-time farmer. It doesn't matter. That is always your second full-time job for sure.
Tell me a little bit about the farm. Like, when most people think of a farm, they think, oh, we're going to plant some corn and have some chickens. But you guys have this on a whole other level, right?
Right. So our farm is actually an old century dairy farm. So we have cattle, hogs, and sheep there, but two of those, sheep and hogs, we only have seasonally because that barn is not set up to raise hogs in the wintertime.
Okay.
Hog skin, very different than cattle. You know, you think of leather, it's a very durable material.
Sure.
Coming from that cow's hide. Hogs don't put down skin like that, even though, you know, we watched that football get thrown around all day yesterday.
Right.
But they do not, they need a warmer shelter for the winter time, and so our barn's not set up like that. So, but spring through mid to late fall, pending Ohio weather, we'll have hogs there too.
Okay. How did your family get started in farming?
You know, I can't 100% say that, but if I had to just go off of history, and we've been farming for 5 generations.
Oh my gosh.
You were farming because you had to put food on your table for your family.
Right.
So everybody at that, in that era, in that time period, was growing food.
Yeah.
Which proved to be a very good resource for us this past year when,
Absolutely.
you know, things were looking a little strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you had that security that you knew how to put something on your table, and we could share that with our community then.
That's really cool. Now, where is the family farm located?
So we are located on the S-curve of Leicester Road in Medina.
Okay.
Still Medina address.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about you as a child. Were you a complete tomboy? Were you a girly girl? Were you in 4-H?
Oh, all the above. So I remember getting ready for a homecoming dance, and chores weren't done, and I'm heels on, dress, hair's ready to go, but the cows weren't fed, so it was Kayleigh Elizabeth, march your fanny out there and feed those cows before you go dance.
The middle name came out and you knew you had to do it.
It's serious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you grow up like showing cattle and hogs at the county fair and everything?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Loved that. I've been run over, stepped on, licked, and if you've ever been licked by a cow's tongue, it's abrasive. So it's like a cat's tongue times about 100 in size and strength. And they can wrap their tongue all the way around you and kind of like tug on you.
Oh my God, I can't even take a drink.
So so you're in show, and you are a showman, and whatever your livestock's doing, sometimes cattle chew their cud, so it's like that regurgitation and chewing on that. And it's a relaxing thing for them. So then they will also like lick on things as a relaxing thing. So I remember standing there, my sister or brother had 2 in the final drive, and I had to show one of their steers for them. And this steer is just slobbering and chewing all over me. And you just have to stand there and love it.
Oh my God. Oh, excuse me. That is hysterical. What, Oh, Lord. So
I know. My stories are probably not where you thought they were going to go this morning.
It's like you're like this Wonder Woman, stunt woman, cow woman.
I love doing my own stunts. Yep.
I bet you do.
Yep.
How did you transition when you were a little girl? I mean, showing, working on the farm, showing at the fair. What was your dream? Did you know you were going to grow up to be a butcher, or was there something else?
And actually, no, not at all. In the sense of being more heavily into the butchery side of things. I actually really loved veterinary medicine. So when I was at Ohio State, that was what I was gearing more towards. I worked for Ohio State's vet hospital while I was there, and then I traveled abroad to Ghana with Ohio State and spent a summer there.
What did you do there, or why did you go?
It was helping implement agriculture practices with the resources they had.
Yeah,
so
that's
very
really cool.
Scarce vegetation and very scarce meat sources. So they don't have as much time or resources to raise bovine, which are cattle.
Right.
So we were helping show how to rabbit farm and pen things off and to not have inbreeding happening and the importance of that. Just certain things they didn't do that we do here, like the castration. So you don't have inbreeding, so you can have siblings in the same pen and not have that occur.
Okay.
So and then far more smaller details, as well as helping in the local schools. I primarily was in young women's schools, and just their fascination with an American, first off, being in there. And they're all from the age of 8, mostly 8, up to 17 years old.
Okay.
And I really started to realize my love of other humans and just how important the food chain is. So instead of where I thought my deep passion was for nurturing animals, which it most certainly is, it was more driven by taking care of the rest of God's children for me.
That's really cool.
And it was being in those schools and with those girls that really started to make me realize, like, I didn't not like people like I thought. I just thought I was, being more tough than I should have been. And that's where my heart lied. And that was the beginning of that journey for me towards what we do now, and being more heavily involved in the family businesses that we have.
That's cool. Are you still in touch with anyone from Ghana, or those?
Yeah, actually,
really?
A guy named Derek, who worked with Ohio State but always stayed in Ghana. He actually was able to come over and attend the College of Worcester.
Oh,
so
how fun.
College of Worcester has a partnership with Ohio State's agriculture school down in Worcester, ATI.
Okay.
And Derek was able to come over and further his education. But then he also sends things back. So Ghana has a big brain drain problem. And he wanted to, I haven't totally kept up with this story, but he wanted to be able to bring that back to Ghana instead of being a part of the brain drain.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How did you transition from, so you went to school for veterinary medicine, went to Ghana, helped them essentially establish a food chain, and get that going, to today you have your own butcher shop, which is something I don't even think a lot of people think of a butcher shop. Most people just go to the grocery store and there's the styrofoam with the shrink wrap and that's your meat.
Yeah.
But so tell me a little bit about the evolution of Keller Meats, how you ended up at the exchange market, and how's it going down there?
Well, to tell you about the evolution of Keller Meats would be a longer story of my dad's, who grew up farming, and then he had a scholarship to play football at the University of Akron, and he wanted to be more in law enforcement. I think he went there for 2 years and was like, no, I just love farming.
Yeah.
And quit school and went back to full-time farming. My grandpa was also a butcher too, so there was Chippewa Meats way back when. So
that was your family as well?
Nope, but my grandpa worked there. And full-time farm, so some of our livestock were harvested there.
Okay.
My Uncle Tim worked there. Then my dad went to Keller Meats. He actually played on a semi-pro football team. So he would have played football with Gary Casada too, who's like a supervisor, full-time butcher at the exchange too. And then would have started working for another meat packing plant, which led to bringing, one day those doors just shut on my dad. And that was the first time in his life he'd ever been let go in any sense. And it was just laid off. And, you know, he's got a wife, farm, 3 kids, and all of a sudden you're without a job.
Yeah.
And he then went to and built a trust with many of the customers there, brought him and all those customers to a man named Bob Whitehead, who lives currently still in Litchfield. Bob then took all those customers on, went from a custom exempt meat processing plant to just a couple head a week, 2, 3, maybe 5 tops, to all of my dad's customers as well. And when Bob wanted to retire, he told my dad, you know, the building and everything's yours, which was pretty much just a renovated garage. So I think I've talked about this with Sam Livingston on his podcast, Sam's on Fire. And I was like, there is something very unique about a garage where people can just be themselves in the most, everything. There's so many big time businesses that have started just in garages.
Just sitting around talking, and there's
it's like
your
my
dream.
Dad's story too.
That's really cool.
The barn and the garage.
Yeah.
And then since built Keller Meats in Litchfield, our processing plant, which has been added on to several times, looking to do another one now.
Wow.
Yep, adding about a 40% increase in size.
Holy cats.
To that, yep. And then I would always, and all of us kids, you know, it's mom and dad's businesses, it's your chores, basically. Like, if you want a roof over your head, get here and help box some stuff. And that's how, I mean, in a nutshell, where the evolution of Keller Meats kind of first started. Yep.
Wow. So what gave you the idea to open your own butcher shop as part of the exchange project?
So I've served on the board with our Medina County Farm Bureau and have had the pleasure of meeting people through agriculture from all around the world. So you start seeing how important food is, not just to your family, not just to your community, your county, your state, but on such a global level. And then you start realizing just that it's the language everybody knows. So it's always a common piece that you can share with everybody. So I've traveled to Australia, I've traveled to Spain, I've been in Ghana and Alaska, and it doesn't matter where you go, it doesn't matter what verbal language barriers there, you can share a meal with anybody and have that commonality. And I loved that, and I started realizing just how much I love that, and to be able to, as you can see, the gift of gab is over here, and always have a conversation with somebody. And when I started this idea of having the exchange came from customers saying, I wish you were closer, I wish you were closer to Keller Meats. It's like, you know, how do you do that and bridge the gap of the consumer with the farmer and how things actually got there? So we're able to do that over the exchange of a great filet mignon or a porterhouse pork chop. You know, we're able to have that brief moment of understanding that this didn't just happen by happenstance. It was months or years of hard work and labor to the harvest of that animal and the crafted skills that it takes to cut those things. So we're able to actually be able to communicate that and have a great time with a customer rather than an experience you're just not going to get at a grocery store with just a complete different setup and the drive.
Most of what you sell at Keller Meats, is that stuff that you have processed?
Processed in what way?
I don't know. I don't honestly know what that means.
Or you mean raised?
Like raised, or if I come in and buy a steak or a porterhouse from you, is that
what we would have cut?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything in there. Now we are starting to.
I just showed my complete ignorance of butchering.
That's okay.
Or butchery, whatever it is. I butchered it.
Yeah. So everything that is cut in that case, it was cut by us. Just right in that cut room that you see behind that tile wall.
So when somebody comes into Keller Meats at the exchange market, you're going to be there, and they can talk to you, say, hey, Kayleigh, you know, this is what I'm looking for, and you can recommend something. Or I love what you said, the exchange, that you're not just giving them a product, you can tell them about that product and tell them about the history and kind of like what it was fed and everything. That is really, really cool. Switch a little bit. A couple years ago you got married? 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years
well,
ago?
a year and whatever change.
Okay.
2019.
Okay. How did you and your husband meet?
So actually, I am a member at Route 18 CrossFit, and a guy that he used to work with, his name's Vic, and inside that CrossFit gym, that kind of community, that in itself, you build a community and a tight friendship. So we all went out for an Ohio State game. We went to Johnny J's, and Ohio State was playing Wisconsin, and we actually lost.
Uh-oh.
So I remember this day very vividly. And Vic's a big Ohio State fan too, and you know, the whole gym. So we're all over there, and then to go drown our sorrows, we went over to the Thirsty Cowboy, and Vic had invited Corey out.
Okay.
And that was the first time I ever met Corey, and he says he fully remembers that, you know, I stuck my hand out and was like, hi, I'm Kayleigh Keller. He goes, that was the hardest handshake I've ever had from a woman before. He's like, yeah. And there was no fireworks, sparks going off or anything like that at that time. It was just fun to go out. He was driving a Ford at the time, which is in our family. And
wait,
he took,
what is not then?
which is get rid of it or get rid of the guy kind of thing.
No, but are you a Chevy, a Dodge?
Oh, Chevy or Dodge, either one's okay.
Okay, just not the Ford.
Just not Ford.
Okay, I have a Chevy. Okay.
So, yeah.
I had to think for a minute.
You're safe.
Thank you.
So, Corey just took all of my jokes, and it wasn't your typical trying to hit on a girl either or just buy her a drink. Yeah, he was so genuine. It was like, I go, oh my gosh, they still make men like this?
Oh,
yeah.
That is
and
fantastic.
From there, didn't even think twice about each other, and just one other night ran into each other again, and I just remember looking at him like, that is a good-looking tall drink of water over there. And it was the beginning of my love of his beard from afar, and I was like, I just need to be closer to him. And that's kind of
awesome.
the beginning of Corey and I.
Oh, I love it. Is Corey involved in the business, or what does he do?
So anytime, you know, as a great, loving, and supporting husband too, he loves the end product. He loves when it's on his plate and his wife is serving it to him, or more so my mom making it for him.
Yeah.
But anytime Corey's asked for help, he doesn't know how to just jump in and figure that part out. But anything, you know, we were down, you know, a ton of staff one day, and I could send a text to him, my brother, and my brother's fiance. It's like, I'm down, everybody, can you guys come in? And yep, going to pick up such and such, but I'll be in.
That's cool.
You know, he'll just, and that's
family.
out of his comfort zone. Like,
yeah.
People to people communication. He is a welder, so behind the shield, under the hood is more of his happy place.
You guys are complete opposites that way.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But it works for you. That
well,
is so cool.
yes.
Yeah.
Like, as long as I quit taking over the conversation and let him get a word in edgewise. But that's when he just goes, woman, and he puts his hand over my face and just,
yeah. It sounds like you are so busy. Do you ever sleep? Or you just go, go, go? And you are a bundle of energy.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have TV. So when people ask, like, oh, have you seen that X, Y, and Z show? I'm like, no. Yeah. So I don't have that, you know, 2-3 hours of what somebody's sitting down, brain draining themselves in front of a TV. I love to learn and grow and prosper.
Yeah.
I love the connections of the community, and I don't see it as continuously working. It's experiencing for me.
Do you have, so in your downtime, do you have any hobbies, or do you have time for hobbies? Like what does Kayleigh do to just chill out, zone out, and relax?
I'm a pretty spiritual person too.
Yeah.
So I plug in a lot to my church, more virtually than ever with what's going on, and seeing how those connections, you know, through God lead me to other people who might just need something, and that's how, you know, that that communication can happen, or that friendship, or just somebody being able to be a little bit of a light. That is really how I love to plug in my CrossFit gym. You know, I love going in there because one, the workouts are so stinking hard.
Right.
It's the only time that I'm focused on exactly what I'm doing as I'm doing it, instead of those like, oh, I have this and this and this to do, because you're breathing so hard and you're in like so much muscular pain for that 5, 10, 20 minute and heavy workout and inside the gym, that if you're thinking about something else and you're not working hard, and or the person next to you is like kind of beating you, and you're like, well, I'm not gonna let that happen.
Sure.
You know, that's a little 13-year-old. I'm not letting her beat me. So it's fun to get that competitive edge that we all grew up as with kids and being heavily involved in sports. So it feeds into that and helps give my brain that relaxation time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Kayleigh, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing a little bit of your story and history, and we look forward to seeing you down at the market.
Thanks, Matt. You and Main Street Medina are a wonderful group.
Thank you.